I'd like to really take this opportunity for us to get to know you and the Cubbit.
And I do have a first message for your great community. Dihi italiani irasate kudasai. So we wait for you in Italy very soon.
And I'd like to know the background of how you started all this.
So we are 4 co-founders, well, more than 40 people in the company. So we have grown quite a lot. We all met in the School of Excellence of the University of Bologna. And the day after we graduated, we gave ourselves 100 days of development to see whether it was worth it or not to build a venture. And I presume you now have the answer, because after more than 4 years, we are finally getting to Japan.
So what was the original idea that prompted you on creating Cubbit?
We wanted to have storage space that was only ours, that the data that we were entrusting there did not have to be to rely on a human trust, but on a mathematical certainty that was our own cloud space. The most common use case of our users is they want the peace of mind and making sure that what they really care about does not get lost or hacked by somebody else. The things that we care the most about are not Excel documents, but it's, maybe the picture of our sons or family, or, the video that we shot. So this is exactly the content that people want to transfer from the hard drives or NAS in order to have also a copy on Cubbit. And also the pricing is a driver, because if you think about it, it is due to the fact that the whole supply chain of the cloud that starts in data centers, which are super energy consuming, super costly to build, well, that cost, it's embedded in the price that we eventually pay. So if you change the cost, the infrastructure, you also have a great benefit in terms of pricing. And just to give you one data, all the server farms in the world together require more energy than what the United Kingdom consumes every single year. So the cloud is not something up there in the air. It's something very solid, very concrete, that requires a lot of energy.
In terms of your comparison with the existing solution, like, of course, the cloud storage, how do you compare against each of the different sort of benchmark solutions?
When it comes to the cloud storage, well, this is exactly the point why we exist, because, the feature that Dropbox, Google Drive, iCloud have brought to us in the last years, they're just great. Like, we love the what they offer, but the point is that we do not want to suffer a trade-off where, in order to get that benefit, we should give up privacy, right? So you don't have to pay a rent for the rest of your life, $10 a month. It looks a small amount, but if you end up, if you expect to leave a bit, right, it's I'm sure you don't want to give up your data. So if you do the math, you'll find out that it will soon cost you a fortune. And when it comes to crypto, everything out there trying to innovate in this direction, it's our friend. Like, we do not feel like we're competing and just one of us should survive. We feel that we are taking a different and unique road, which is blockchain projects, are crypto-based projects, are setting up a marketplace. The day when miners feel that they are not making enough money in providing service, the marketplace will just collapse, because people are there for speculation. Cubbit is not doing a marketplace. Cubbit is making a collaboration network, where it's more like a cooperative rather than, a company. So you get into Cubbit because you need not a crypto whose price can go up and down overnight, but what you need is to store safely your data, which is exactly a need that will never end, because the more we live, the more data we produce, right? So it's something that will ever last. So on one side, on the marketplaces, we find, the price of storage itself going down in the years, right? It's more and more of a commodity. On the other side, though, you do have the need to save more data going up, right? So our bet is that it is in the long term, it is safer to make your reason to exist attached to the increasing need of data rather than to the decreasing price of storage. And this is what makes us different.
One of the biggest challenge would be how can a team of 40 compete against the giant sort of companies like Google, even Dropbox has become a large company.
So as you were saying, is not competing right, in front of them. That would be, self-killing, but it's opening up new niches, new spaces for people who have a clear need of benefiting of a private cloud that doesn't cost their money and also the energy of this planet.
Would you be able to explain your development roadmap?
And we have successfully released the full storage space of the Cubbit cell, which used to be at the beginning to play gently, limited with a cap of 100 gigabytes. Now it's open to its full capacity. We are about to release the hard disk expansion and also the for accounts. So really, after a very long development journey, now in the next few weeks or months, we are about to to roll out every feature that was in pipeline.
You mentioned that people will be able to add external hardware device to your Cubbit cell. Do you know when it will be coming live?
Very, very soon. We are actually already testing that in our alpha network, which is, of course, before rolling out in the production network that users use. We do test a lot heavily, right, to make sure everything is fine.
And I guess your intention of wanting to come to the Japanese market actually sort of solidifies your hypothesis that the more people you have in Japan, that will make the network much faster and more reliable. Is that true?
So it is already reliable.
Okay.
But what I want to make sure that our Japanese users understand is that the network is already up and running, but we are about to have more and more users in Japan. And as you know, we have sold more than 3,500 Cubbit cell all over the world, which are already working and opening up millions and millions of peer-to-peer connection between each other. You can use and access Cubbit from Brazil to Japan and India, anywhere in this world.
And I heard you got a grant from EU based on such sort of mission. Would you mind sort of explaining to our friends in Japan?
So there's three major variables. The first one is on how much energy you spend on the device itself. The more it is, the more it sucks energy. The second is how much do you have to cool it down? They have to compact all computers one on top of the others, and they hit the air, and you have to cool the air down in order to make it work, and that requires a lot of energy. And finally, how far does data go back and forth to the final users? The more the more you make data travel, the more you actually consume energy. And if you take these three variables, well, Cubbit optimizes all of them. Inside the Cubbit cell, there is a very simple CPU. It's a ARM-based processor, which really use very much less energy itself. Then the Cubbit cell are not one on each other. They are distributed in our house and offices. So we do not need to cool down anything. And finally, we optimize where data is stored and managed so that we cut down latency as much as we can, right? And in this way, we estimate that for every petabyte stored on Cubbit rather than centralized cloud, we end up saving 40,000 kilograms of CO2 emissions every single year, right? So it's 5 to 10 times greener than the cloud, and the European Commission funding the innovation that meet also certain sustainable development goals. You mentioned the sustaining the business model. It is very, very important. You may remember Lima as a product, right? One of the most successful campaigns on Kickstarter back in the days, 2011, if I'm correct. And they did not have a sustainable business model. And we want to make sure, on the other hand, to progress and make a very long-term company. So what we do is we make sure that no gigabytes is wasted. So whenever we find enough space to base some services on top of the network of Cubbit sales, that have excess capacity, well, we can do this in order to monetize, and so make sure that we can keep building and maintaining the software that our users use for free.
I see, very interesting. As a matter of fact, I was a backer in Lima, and I really loved Lima product until they got bankrupt and shut down the service, which was, I think, one of the biggest tragedy in storage history.
And this is I'm saying this to our prospect users, for anybody willing to join Cubbit, they should know that no matter what happens, to the company, every disaster scenario, they will be able to keep running their service. And this, I think, is very important, especially for ex-Lima bakers like you.
That is really encouraging and assuring to hear that. What do you think was the biggest challenges so far?
When you're a deep tech startup, there's a paradox, which is you need resources to get the time, close yourself into the lab, let's say, and build the product in order to show and get to the minimum viable features. But on the other side, investors ask you for shown proof of your product in order to get you money. How do you fix this loop? That was very tough. But I also want to tell you that it is rewarding. So the most beautiful moment in our journey so far, which touched me a lot, was to see people taking pictures of their Cubbit sale back home, right? And seeing the pictures of these people really, really was a great moment for me and the founders.
That's really, really encouraging, impressive to learn that people who are sort of sharing the exciting moment that they finally got their Cubbits at their home. I think we're getting to the end of the interview, but if there's any message you want to deliver to the Japanese audience, please do so.
Sure. We love Japan. We feel so proud and lucky to have found a great partner like Kibidango. And it's awesome how in 2021 we can collaborate from all over the world and making great projects and partnership go alive, even if we have to meet in person yet, right? And we wait, as I said at the beginning, the Italiani Irasate Kudasai. We wait for you in Italy very soon. But I also want to add that this year in particular, everybody from the world is giving a lot of consideration to Japan because of the Olympics. And we cannot wait for them to start. So I would like to tell all our Japanese users, Gambari Nippon. Come on, Japan! It's gonna be a great year, and we can't wait to show you, to see you in action.
Wow, we've been sort of flooded with all the negative news these days, but your message was really encouraging, and I really appreciate that. We also hope that we'll be the eyes and ears and the voice for all the users in Japan on behalf of Cubbit, and also like to represent all the users in Japan to funnel all the comments and feedbacks to you to make the product and service much better.
This is the best thing you could do because our users are the most important thing to us. Whatever they want to share with us, we're just one email away. And if you wanna make a change in how the internet will be shaped over the next years, and well, you do have today a chance to act. And we hope to see you in the swarm that is going beyond the cloud. Thank you very much.